Welcome back to AI Podcast for the final part of our deep dive into AI and warfare.
It's been a fascinating journey.
Yeah, we've covered some pretty mind-blowing stuff in the first two parts.
From those autonomous weapons to cyber warfare, it's a lot.
It is a lot, and today we're going even deeper, looking at how AI is shaping military strategy and the future of warfare itself.
That's right. We're moving beyond just the tools and looking at how it's impacting the way wars are planned, fought, and even prevented.
So let's unpack that a little bit.
Yeah.
Imagine you're a military commander in the heat of battle.
Yeah.
Decisions need to be made in seconds. How is AI changing that game?
It's really giving commanders a superhuman edge. Almost like having an assistant who can analyze the battlefield in real time, processing data from satellites and drones and sensors faster than any human could.
So like a superpowered brain helping with those split-second decisions.
Exactly. One source highlighted a recent simulation where AI was able to predict an enemy flanking maneuver.
And how accurate was that prediction?
90% accuracy. That kind of predictive power could mean the difference between winning and losing, or even life and death for soldiers on the ground.
So AI isn't just reacting. It's anticipating what the enemy might do next.
Exactly. And that analysis is feeding into a whole new way of thinking about command and control.
You mean those war rooms in movies with generals around giant maps?
Those war rooms are getting a serious AI upgrade. They're becoming high-tech hubs where AI is helping commanders make better, faster decisions.
How does that work in practice?
You have all this intel coming in from the battlefield, troop movements, enemy activity, you name it. AI can process all that data, integrate it with historical data, and then present commanders with different strategic options.
So almost like a super-powered chess player analyzing all the moves.
It's a good analogy, but with much higher stakes, AI can run battle simulations to test strategies, predict potential outcomes, and even optimize things like logistics and troop deployments. It's all about making the most informed decisions in really complex situations.
It sounds like AI is taking the guesswork out of warfare.
That's the goal. And one source even suggests that AI-powered command and control systems could actually reduce casualties,
By doing what?
minimizing human error and improving coordination.
That's a pretty strong case for AI in warfare.
It is, but there are risks and concerns, which we'll get into later.
Okay, let's talk about spying, or I guess intelligence gathering. How is AI changing how militaries gather information?
One of the most fascinating areas is satellite and drone reconnaissance. Modern warfare is happening on such a large scale with huge areas to monitor about. AI is giving militaries a way to keep an eye on things from above.
How so?
Using satellites and drones with powerful sensors and AI-powered vision.
To a constant stream of information coming in from the sky.
Exactly.
Mhm.
AI can analyze that imagery to detect changes that might indicate enemy activity or movements, or the construction of new military installations. And with drones, you can get even closer using AI to scan for specific targets or gather real-time intel on enemy positions.
This sounds so sophisticated.
Yeah,
Is this stuff actually happening now, or is this still science fiction?
it's happening right now. One source describes how the U.S. military is using AI to analyze drone footage from conflict zones, to identify threats and track enemy movements. It's all part of this big effort to use AI to get a strategic advantage.
Wow, it really feels like a whole new era of warfare.
You're starting to see how AI changes the battlefield.
It's mind-blowing to think about all this happening in real time.
And it's not just reacting to what's happening. AI is also being used to try to predict future conflicts.
Wait, can AI actually predict wars? That sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
It might sound like science fiction, but it's becoming more real. Militaries are using AI to analyze tons of data, looking for patterns that could signal an upcoming conflict.
What kind of data are we talking about?
Everything: geopolitical tensions, economic indicators, historical conflict patterns, and even social media activity. AI can go through all that, looking for red flags that might suggest a war is on the horizon.
Like a data-driven crystal ball.
Kind of AI is being used to try to figure out where and when that next conflict might happen.
How accurate are those predictions? Can we trust AI to tell us when the next war will break out?
That's the big question. And there's no easy answer. On one hand, these AI systems are really powerful tools to help us understand the world and identify threats.
But on the other hand...
They're only as good as the data they're trained on.
Right, and there's always the risk of things like miscalculation or bias. Plus, the world is a messy place. Even with AI, you can't predict the future with 100% certainty.
So it's a gamble.
There's a lot of potential in using AI to predict conflicts, but we have to use it responsibly and not just blindly follow it.
So we've talked about AI analyzing battles in real time, making strategic decisions and predicting wars. There's another big question, the ethical one.
Ah, yes, the ethics of AI. That's a tough one.
Should AI have the power to make life or death decisions on the battlefield?
That's the issue. We're talking about autonomous weapon systems, killer robots that can choose targets without any human intervention.
And that's a scary thought. It is. There are strong arguments on both sides.
What are the arguments in favor of giving AI that kind of power?
People who like autonomous weapons argue that they could actually make war less deadly. They say that without human emotions, AI could make more rational decisions based on data, minimizing casualties and collateral damage.
So AI wouldn't be driven by fear or anger.
Exactly. It would be able to make those calls based just on data, which could save lives.
I see that argument.
Yeah.
But I'm still uneasy about machines deciding who lives or dies.
You're not alone. Many people share those concerns.
So what are the arguments against giving AI that level of control?
There are a few big concerns. One is accountability. If an autonomous weapon makes a mistake and people are killed, who is responsible? The programmer, the commander. It's a legal and ethical mess.
It's hard to hold a machine accountable.
And then there's the risk of these systems getting hacked. What if someone takes control of an autonomous weapon? That could be really bad.
That's terrifying. So where do we go from here? How do we balance the benefits of AI with the risks?
That's what we're facing. There's a growing movement to create international regulations and treaties to control these weapons.
Like the treaties that limit nuclear weapons.
Exactly. The idea is to prevent an AI arms race and make sure these technologies are used the right way.
It sounds like we're at a turning point. The decisions we make about AI could really change the future.
Absolutely. And it's a conversation that needs to involve everyone, not just military leaders and tech people, but everyone. We all have a stake in this.
So we've covered a lot today, from real-time battle analysis to the ethics of autonomous weapons. There's one last big question I want to ask. Questions?
Right.
What-
Like, will AI actually make the world safer or will it make it more dangerous?
That's a question I keep coming back to.
It's a big one. To really get it, you have to look at the whole world. Because AI in warfare isn't just theoretical, it's happening now. And different countries are approaching it differently.
To set the scene, who are the big players in this AI arms race, and what are they hoping to achieve?
Well, the U.S. has been a leader in AI research and development for a long time. They're putting a lot of resources into military AI, everything from intelligence to autonomous weapons. Their goal is to stay ahead, but they also talk about the need for ethical guidelines.
What about China? We've been hearing a lot about their ambitions.
China has been really pushing ahead with AI. Their goal is to be the world leader in AI by 2030. And they're not shying away from using it for military stuff. They're developing AI war simulations, autonomous drones, and even things like swarm technology.
Swarm technology, what is that?
Imagine a ton of tiny drones controlled by AI, like hundreds or even thousands. They could just overwhelm defenses. It's a scary thought.
That does sound like something out of a movie.
It does. And it's not just the US and China. Russia, Israel, the UK. A bunch of countries are investing heavily in AI for their militaries. It's happening everywhere and really fast.
With all this happening, are there any international rules to control this AI arms race?
That's the problem. There's a lot of talk, but not a lot of action. The UN is talking about treaties to regulate autonomous weapons, but there's no agreement yet. Countries like the US and China don't want a ban. They say AI is too important for their security.
So every country is making up its own rules as it goes along.
Pretty much, and that's what makes it risky. Without clear rules, there's a bigger chance of mistakes, accidents, and things getting out of control.
So let's talk about those risks. What are some of the worst-case scenarios?
One big fear is that AI could accidentally start a war. Like, imagine an AI system misreads data and thinks there's a threat when there isn't. It could start a chain reaction leading to a conflict.
You're saying AI could start a war without anyone meaning for it to happen?
It could. And that's what makes it different from other advances in warfare. Like with nuclear weapons, someone has to make the decision to launch them. But with AI, machines could be making those decisions and we might not have control.
It's scary. What about the ethics of using AI to kill? We talked about autonomous weapons, but it seems like AI could be used in other ways to make war more efficient, but maybe also more brutal.
You're right. AI could be used for things like targeted propaganda or to make those deep fakes, those realistic fake videos that could spread lies and cause chaos.
So AI could be used to manipulate people on a huge scale.
Yeah, and that's a big concern because in the end, war is about people. It's about people getting hurt and dying. We have to be really careful about how we use AI.
Given all this, are you optimistic or pessimistic about AI in warfare?
Honestly, it's hard to say. I see both the good and the bad. AI could make war less destructive, but it could also make it more unpredictable. It really depends on what we do as a society.
So it's not about the technology itself, but how we use it.
Right. We need to talk about the ethics of AI in warfare and create rules and regulations to prevent the worst from happening. The future of war is being shaped right now. It's up to us to make sure AI is used responsibly.
That's a great point to end on. This has been an amazing but kind of unsettling look at AI and warfare.
It's a really important topic.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Be sure to check back tomorrow for a brand new episode on something completely different.
Until then, stay curious.